Yo, what's up guys? I'm security guard, Secret Agent Randy Beans, and today I'm going to be telling you about the construction of the Berlin Wall. Let's get started. In the years of 1949 through 1961, roughly 2.5 million Germans fled East Germany to go to West Germany. The west of Germany. Yep. Crazy times. This threatened to destroy the economic stability of East Germany. So because of all this, in 1961, in August I believe, a wall was constructed around East Germany. This cut off all East Germans' access to West Germany. So if you lived in East Germany, that sucks, you can't go to the West. Does your grandma live in the West and you live in the East? No more grandma, say bye. This is the Berlin Wall. Yo, what's up guys? Now it's security guard Blanford here to tell you about life in East Berlin versus West Berlin. Let's get it. In East Berlin, life was not the greatest, clearly. People in East Berlin were cut off entirely from West Berlin overnight. The state security monitored them, bugged homes, interviewed friends, family to make sure there was no rebellion. They went through a lot of shortages, isolation, surveillance, and overall, just a really miserable life. East Berlin was full of communism. It was a communist state. Slowly, reinforcements started to be added to the Berlin Wall when people were still managing to escape after it was built. All right, now on to West Berlin. People in West Berlin were living a much better life than the East Berlin people. They were much more free, had a lot more opportunities. It was not full of communism. They had a much higher standard of living, more access to goods. They weren't going through shortages. They weren't being surveillanced for everything. They had a lot more freedom. Their economy was thriving. It was great. They had lots of art, vibrancy in their life, and none of that was happening in East Berlin. What's up guys, it's me, security guard Tony Stark here to tell you about the escape attempts and all the dangers and stuff like that came along with it. So, during the time the Berlin Wall was existing, over 100,000 people attempted to escape the Berlin Wall. Many of these people's escaped attempts include tunnels, hot air balloons, modified vehicles, other methods like they try to scale the walls, use public transit, trains and whatnot. And they also just try to climb over the border and escape there. But as they added more reinforcements, obviously, that became more and more impossible. What's up, guys? I'm not a security guard. Here's more about the Berlin Wall. The dangers people faced to try to escape was obviously the death strip. And within the death strip, there was things like barbed wire, obstacles, like there was patrol dogs, armed guards. I think there was also landmines, and I think there was sand pits to make it harder to walk and run in. So there was lots of art on the Berlin Wall. The Berlin Wall was once considered the wall of shame because obviously everyone hated it on both sides, but it did eventually become filled with art and whatnot. On the Berlin Wall there was a lot of graffiti, a lot of murals painted on there. There was a few really symbolic and meaningful big art pieces on the Berlin Wall, some of which include... My videos keep ending because my storage is full. Anywho, the Fatherland painting. It is the Israel flag over the German flag, and it's in honor of the 50th anniversary of the Kristallnacht, which was when Nazis in Germany and Austria destroyed a bunch of Jewish-owned shops and businesses and smashing their windows. Another significant painting is Trabant, I don't know how to say it, breaking through the wall. And it's like supposed to represent the East Germans who had tried to escape over the Berlin Wall. Another significant painting is titled "It Happened in November," and it portrays all the different emotions that people felt and everything that day. And so there is a few significant pieces of art that were on the Berlin Wall. All of the art on the Berlin Wall was, you know, very significant, even if it was just graffiti. I think everything can hold significance when it is on such a historical piece. And last but not least, the fall of the Berlin Wall. The fall of the Berlin Wall happened on November 9th, 1989, and 500,000 people gathered in East Berlin, and it was a massive protest. This was a couple of days before the wall came down. The leaders in East Germany had tried to stop these protests. They never actually intended to open up the border. However, so many East Germans did, like, go to the wall in huge numbers, and at that point they just, like, couldn't be stopped. The leaders basically had no choice but to open the wall to all of the East Germans, and that was it. The wall was done. All of the people in Germany, they all celebrated together because East Berlin finally had their freedom. Thanks for watching.